How's it going, everybody? I'm here with North Alabama hiking today. I am at the Joe Wheeler State Park multi-use trail on the south side of Wheeler Dam. And for today's video topic, I wanted to discuss what do you do if your technology fails you while you're out on the trail. And I want to do this video because so many people rely solely on technology nowadays to do just about everything. Even out on the hiking trail, a lot of people have began to use their cell phones or GPS devices to do all their navigating, and they become reliant upon the technology. Our technology has advanced so much and becomes so much more reliable that we know we can just about use our cell phones anywhere at any time. Now, that may not be the case in certain really secluded areas, like in Bankhead National Forest. It may not always have a signal in an area like that, but even in some places there it does. So that's just something I wanted to do in this video to get everybody to thinking about how to not be as reliant on technology, and what to do in an emergency in case all of your technology fails. So we'll talk about prevention. We'll talk about the things that can go wrong and things that can happen with your technology. And we'll probably do that first, actually. And we'll also talk about what to do if and when that happens on the trail. So I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. The things that can happen, obviously, is you can drop your devices in water. Your cell phones or whatever, you can accidentally drop them. They can just, they can quit on their own. I've actually had that happen before. Batteries can go dead. And then your GPS devices, I have had a Garmin actually quit on me. I wasn't actually needing it, but I was kind of messing around with it one day out on a hike, and it quit working. It just froze up and it never worked again, no matter what I did. So it made me think at that point, like, you know what, I need to be prepared better in the event that I'm somewhere I'm not familiar with and need to make sure that I don't have an emergency. So another thing that's going on, and right now with all the tensions in the world, there's the threat for cyber attacks and all these other things that can, you never know when something could get disrupted, a service could get disrupted or whatever. And now maybe your GPS doesn't work or your cell phone doesn't work. We've recently seen that in Canada, where a system went down and a lot of internet outages and cell phone outages occurred, and people's cell phones were basically useless for a while. That can still happen here, and it can happen while you're out on the trail using this stuff. So those are the things that can happen. Then we're going to talk about prevention. First of all, make sure all your devices, the batteries are up on them. Make sure they're working good before you leave. And power them up. Make sure your GPS is connecting to satellites. Make sure your cell phone's working properly. Have a backup power bank for any of your devices, or if they use like AA batteries, have extra batteries for your GPS devices and things. For GPS, also make sure any coordinates that you have plugged in, if you're going somewhere new, make sure, do your research, make sure they're correct. But definitely, make sure your devices are up to date, working properly. Backups. I stress to people having, especially if you're by yourself, a track phone, flip phone is an excellent backup device for your main cell phone. You can stuff it in a watertight container, put it in the center of your backpack. You don't have to have a service on it, and you can still dial 911. So if you drop your phone, damage it, and it doesn't work, or your battery dies, and you forgot to ring your charger, or anything that can go wrong, you got a backup communication device. If you're going somewhere real secluded, you may even consider a ham radio or a CB handheld radio. Might not be able to connect to people really far away, but if you're in a group, having that way to communicate could be helpful, especially if your cell phone dies or your service goes down. That could be really helpful in an emergency. Now, what do you do? You're asking, what do you do if it happens on the trail? Before I fully get into that, I will say, outside of your devices, another backup method and prevention method is to research the area you're going to. Study it good, know your routes, and don't just blindly go into an area hoping, well, I'll find what I'm looking for. Study it, study your maps. There's hardly a hiking location out there nowadays that does not have a map. Get a paper map of the area, preferably a topographical map if you can. If you can't find one, get the best map you can get, and print a paper copy of it. And always, always, always in your hiking day pack, have a compass. Always have a compass, because it's pretty much going to work. And if you find yourself where your devices don't work, or your GPS doesn't work, at the bare minimum, that compass can get you pointed in the right direction, or can get you oriented. Look, I'm not going to do it, but look up tons of YouTube videos about orienting your compass with your map to get you pointed in the right direction. So they can do it way better than I can. Just YouTube that. But have a paper map, have a compass. Be ready to use that in case your device fails. Now, what do you do if you're out on the trail and your phone dies or your GPS dies? Well, if you paid attention to any of my previous day hiking safety emergency videos, I stress making sure people know where you're at, when you'll be back. So if you're not back, they can contact authorities. Having your water purification, first aid, fire making kits, all that other stuff is covered in those videos. So if you've paid attention to that and done that, you got a lot of peace of mind. So even if you can't call for help, you got your emergency gear. But don't panic. If you've studied your area and you got your paper map, you should be fine. But if you have an emergency, if you're injured, especially if you're hiking with a partner, if you can't call, then you're probably going to have to leave your partner, and you're going to have to make a good sound note of where you're at, and you're going to hike until you can get help. You may have to administer first aid to yourself or to somebody. If you can't call, if you can't use a cell phone. And learning that kind of stuff would be beneficial. But again, if it happens, don't panic. you know, just stay calm and rely on the things that you've learned about using a map, using your compass, your basic navigation, and get yourself back. If your GPS unit crashes, remember, if you paid attention and navigated properly, again, using your paper map and compass should get you back. But there's other things, you know, if you're worried about losing your direction, sometimes, you know, knowing which way the sun is can tell you with your east, west, that can kind of help orient you there. So those are just a few of the things you can do. But if you've watched the other videos, studied how to prevent these emergencies, if your devices fail, you'll be fine. But, you know, at least maybe if you watch this, you'll think, you know, I shouldn't be so reliant upon my devices. I should learn the basics of having a paper map, having a compass, what to do if I can't call for help. And that'll help you out a lot if that ever happens. So, and that also gets you thinking about, hey, what if that happens in any other scenario? If I'm just out on the road or if I'm wherever. I mean, you know, having backup comms, having, you know, knowledge about what to do can really save you. So if nothing else, just take this video as an opportunity to think about what can happen and how you can handle that scenario and be prepared in case that does happen. So if you catch the video and you want to tell me what you think about it, and comment below and tell me what you would do, how you prepare for those types of things. And I'll appreciate any feedback. So thank you.